a good time to sort of have a discussion on that. So we want to be sure that there's no misunderstanding and that everybody has a clear idea of the best way to handle this type of thing. So Georgia, I think you've got did you have a diagram there that you were gonna?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to. I kind of wanted to. I'm gonna change this to 40,000, so it makes more sense. So I want to explain this, and there's a couple of market centers that have a unique team cap. So I want to start first with the team cap, so you understand the concept of the team cap. And if you're doing things differently, let us know. You know, I don't know that there's one best way to do this, but there's best practices. But I'm not saying that you all don't have other unique ways. But let us help you with these things too, because we want to make sure that they're showing up correctly on your P&L. We want to make sure it's showing up correctly for the agent, and so forth. So, and that's why you have your host market center agreement, because on your host market center agreement, it says, what is your team cap? Now, I'll be honest with you, with the exception of maybe one or two market centers in the region, we don't have a lot of big team caps that this is affecting. But I want to share this with you anyway, so you understand the concept, and then we'll get into cap adjustment for like your legacy caps or things that you're doing to be able to retain your people. Okay. So let's just say that your market center had a 40,000. Can you all see this? Yeah. Okay. Because Ashley put me on big view, I guess. Let's just say your market center had a $40,000 team cap. It could be 40, it could be 60. Generally, what I see is it's $40,000 or $50,000 for up to like 6 to 10 agents, something like that. And then if you go from like 11 to 15 agents, it's another X amount of dollars per agent, or it's another $10,000 or something. So they can vary. They can vary. Okay. But let's just say we're working right now. This is a $40,000 cap, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8 people on this team right now. Okay. And generally speaking, guys, everybody should have the same anniversary date. Now, in your mind, you're going like, well, if a team started and they're already in my market center and they have to be on the same anniversary date, how do we do that? It's generally going to be the Rainmaker date. And just like you're transferring an agent back and forth from another market center, you're going to need to do some cap adjustment in that first time frame, plus or minus, in order to be able to make this work out. And then anybody that they would hire after that time frame would move into that cap, that same anniversary year. Sam, you understand that, right? So you can help them do some of those little adjustments. And it may be perfect, and it may be you take a little loss, or the agent takes a little loss, but somewhere you're going to come up with some normalcy, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say you've got a $40,000 cap. Because honestly, guys, if you all don't have the same cap date, there's no way to be, it would be very difficult to have a team cap if everybody had different cap dates. I don't even know how you honestly do it. So let's just say that you got a $40,000 team cap. We've got 8 people, each agent, and there's 2 ways to do this, but each agent is on a $9,000 cap. Okay. So every agent here is on a $9,000 cap. The Rainmaker is on an $18,000 cap. So all of these agents here are on a $9,000 cap. This is the company dollar as of today that they've paid in. So let's say that this person's anniversary date was, it doesn't really matter, but let's say that this Rainmaker had an anniversary date. All of these people had paid in up until this time frame here, $55,000. Well, if our team cap is 40,000 and they've paid in as of this month, based on everybody's numbers, 55,000, we owe that Rainmaker back the difference between the 40 and the 55,000, which would be $15,000. Does everybody understand that? Say, I don't see all of
Yes.
you. So Ashley, are they say okay? So if this was a month, like maybe let's say the prior month, they had only done combined $38,000. If their cap was 40, you wouldn't owe them anything. But this particular month, based on everybody's company dollar, you see that they have exceeded their team cap of 40,000. you're going to reimburse them back $15,000 as a cap reimbursement on your P&L. So you're going to have a line item on your P&L, which would be cap reimbursement, whatever the number would be. And it would just, you would start to accumulate that until everybody was basically, all these agents had reached their cap, assuming they did. If they never reached it, then you wouldn't be reimbursing them back any more money. So,
So Georgia, the easiest way to do this would be
up until their next anniversary date. Yes, Sam?
right. The easiest way to do this would be just at the end of the month to calculate, okay, how much has the team contributed this month? If they're over the cap, just cut one check at the end of the month.
Back to the agent.
Back to the rainmaker.
Back to the rainmaker. They would then get 1099 on that somehow, Sam, right? Because that's income to them.
Right. You can pull the 1099s from Account Edge.
Right. And so because they would be getting that money back. Okay.
Correct.
Now, just in case there's thoughts of this going through your mind, like, oh, well, wait, that's an expense. Well, it's not, because you're bringing the company dollar in, it's kind of like a bold reimbursement. You're bringing the company dollar in and you're paying the company dollar back out. So it's just basically a wash.
Instead of doing adjustment DAs, you're just doing one check at the end of the month.
Right. The other thing that happens is that it protects profit share. So in other words, when that company dollar is coming in, because profit share is calculated off of the company dollar percent to the total company dollar percent of the market center for a ratio, that agent, that tree is getting protected because of that company dollar coming in. Now, you can say, well, yes, but profit is being affected. Well, yes, it is, but they're still getting something for the company dollar. Now, some people say, why would we do this? Well, you know what? These rainmakers, these teams, they're running a business, and they look at this and they go, why shouldn't my cap be, the markets there might say, why shouldn't my cap be whatever this would be? Well, it's not an effective business model to a team. Okay. And so you've got to kind of look at it. It's like they're running their own value proposition on their own team, and they're looking for some kind of a business model that says, this is what I'm willing to pay to the market center to be able to run my team. Okay. Now, the reason we use in most market centers, the reason we use this is because globally, we want everybody to be able to see that if you're on a team, you're on a $9,000 cap. Okay, global. So it's marketed that way. But a rainmaker could choose to say, this is what we're paying to the market center, but a rainmaker may say, I'm going to give you back part of your cap. So in other words, they could theoretically give part of that money, that cap money, back to them as bonuses or something, because that's not commission. That's actually money that they could be paying back. So a rainmaker, we have some areas where we have on the team cap to the agent, it's only $4,500. Okay. Or excuse me, to the market center, it's only $4,500, but the agent is still paying $9,000. Okay. And so once people cap at $4,500, we start doing a reimbursement. But in this particular case, we're collecting money all the way to $9,000. Does everybody kind of understand that?
Yeah, I have a question, Georgia, if you don't mind. So I've been doing this for, I don't know, a little over a year now. And this year we've paid out between $30,000 and $40,000 in cap rebates. I don't have everybody on the same anniversary date. I do have a way of tracking it and reconciling it each month. It works fine. Do you recommend I go to these teams and ask them to convert all to the same date, or if the way we're doing it is working, leave it alone? Is KW's expectation to try and have it all be consistently set on the same date for the rainmakers? Or? There's not
a consistent way to do it. KWRI is not telling us any particular way to do it. I just think it becomes challenging, Kieran. When you do it that way, because it's just a lot of work on behalf of the MCA. And if we get a lot of market centers that have a lot of teams, then I think it becomes challenging. Do you know what I mean? That you're doing a lot of work. Whereas if you have them on one team cap, it's just with one date, it's just a lot easier.
You're just changing the company dollar anniversary date is what.
You're just changing the start date, Kieran, not the royalty date or anything. Does that make
No, I
sense?
understand. It's just since they're all on different dates now. If I go back and change it, some of them have paid in a portion of their cap on the current period, and now I'm going to change their anniversary date to, let's say, November 1, because that's when one of the Rainmakers rolls. One of the Rainmakers on my bigger teams roll next month. So if I was to adjust everybody to November 1, I guess we would just have to go back and figure out a prorated cap amount for the next period based on what they paid in.
Exactly.
past
You
period.
figure out a prorated, and then that way, if this team is thinking about getting larger, Kieran, it's just going to make it easier for you in the future to be able to put everybody on one cap date and then just, move them forward. Does that make sense?
And then as new people join the team, so let's say I'm in that situation, just trying to talk this through. Let's say it's June, and somebody joins that team, and the team cap date is November 1. Do I collect company dollar on them from June to November and then reset them back to 9, and just whatever they do in those few months is what they do? Or
it depends, because some of you say, like, this team cap, Kieran, might be up to 10 agents. So if
so the way mine is up to 8 agents. We collect all the company dollar, which is $81,000, and the market center keeps 54, and we rebate back 27 to the Rainmaker.
Right.
And then as the team grows, each additional 2 agents that comes on, we keep the first $9,000 and we rebate back them the second $9,000. So for every 2 agents they grow above 8, we keep the first $9,000 and we rebate them back the second $9,000. So it's growth oriented, and it encourages the teams to continue to grow.
Is it $4,500 an agent or $9,000 an agent?
9.
Okay. Well, so then for anybody over 8, and guys, you all need to hear this because all these things happen. So for anybody over 8 agents, the next agent pays $9,000 in.
Yep. And then so the 9th agent would pay $9,000 in, the 10th agent would pay $9,000 in, but we would rebate that $9,000 back to the Rainmaker. So basically we keep the first half of the $18,000 we would collect off 2 agents, and then we give them back the second half.
Yeah, so you would just be collecting the company dollar then from those people.
Mm-hmm.
But are you talking about like the start date because they're rolling?
Well, I'm just saying if somebody starts, let's say 6 months prior to the team anniversary date, am I just saying, okay, well you just have your regular $9,000 cap, but it's going to reset in 6 months, not in 12 months like it normally would?
Well, yeah, you've got a different kind of a situation because not all of them kind of operate that way. I don't know. We'd have to maybe talk to you separately about that. That's why I say all of these are unique, Kieran. So what you're saying is your cap date was 6 months ago.
Well, I'm just giving an example. If a team's cap date is, let's say, January 1, just for easy, but if they have an agent join in June,
right, and
that agent
now they owe you $18,000 or $9,000 because you're going to rebate back the other 9. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying. So, do I set that agent who joins in June? I set their anniversary date to January 1 because they're on the team.
Correct.
So, and let's say they pay $9,000 in their first 6 months. They're going to reset again 6 months in and have to pay another $9,000. So they're basically do we prorate it every time somebody joins the team, or?
These are all the things I think we need to think about, Kieran. I don't know the answers to all those things.
Okay.
Yeah, every market center could have a different structure, couldn't they, Georgia? The way they handle things like that.
Right. Like you might have to because not everybody has this kind of model that you have. I have some market centers that said when you go from 11 agents to when you go past 10, from 11 to 15, it's another $10,000. So now your cap just increased. Do you see what I mean? And so
yeah, and that's basically what we're doing. Every two agents you add after 8, the team cap increases by 9 because they're getting back together 9. So
yeah, Kieran, it's not a perfect world when you're adding people to it all the time. So I don't know the answers to those questions. I think those are good things. Maybe we need to talk to other teams about and find out how they do it, other market centers, maybe even outside of our region, or just the market center needs to understand, or I don't know the answer to the question.
Okay. All right.
I think it's
we'll
all.
Figure it out.
I think we're all figuring this out at the same time. But I do think having one start date is is better. Because I think it's just easier to calculate. And as you move forward, I think it's going to be easier for all the teams to figure it out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I guess we'll just have to figure out how that works as they add agents throughout the year.
Exactly. Or maybe it's just prorated. You know what I mean? And you're going to get,
Right.
somebody's going to gain and somebody's going to lose, but you're going to get it figured out. You know what I mean? Because you got the
Sure.
same problem if they lose 2 people and now you're back to 7 people. Because you lose people. So now your cap just went down too. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, I mean,
So
there's
Georgia,
a
in
lot
your,
of moving parts.
in your email yesterday, you said specifically that if a market center wants, is implementing something like this, to please contact the region so we can have a discussion to see what's going to work best for you.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he didn't send out, this is how you do it, because there isn't one way to do it. I think we're all learning through this process, and everything is going to be a little bit different. Now, let me explain to you something else, because we've got a couple of market centers, or one specifically, that had a little unique situation where their team cap was actually based on $4,500. Okay. And actually, the way that this cap was structured is that until the agent reached their team cap of $4,500 for each agent, they were not capped. That is not the normal. That is not the normal. There was a particular reason that this was done this way, is because if you have an agent that wants to go out and get, 30 or 40 people to the team, this particular market center did not necessarily want to have a whole bunch of agents on a team just sporadically sending in $1,000, and then you have 50 people on a team and you've paid $50,000, but you only have 50 people paying in $1,000. Does that make sense? So sometimes it can be set up that there are some particulars to be able to protect in the event that you've got an agent that may want to go out and get an enormous amount of agents on their team. Again, each one is going to be structured a little bit differently, and there's going to be particular ways that you might do something depending on how the rainmaker wants to build their team. So this is not like one size fits all. I think we're all kind of figuring this out as we go. And that's why we say, get with us. We're not trying to tell you what to do, but we do want to be in the mix, because just like Huron's got one way, another market center has another way. There may be another way that another market center does it in another region. We're going to learn from each other, maybe what's the best way. And you never know how what the agent's hearing out there. Michelle is asking, would this apply to expansion teams as well? Well, Michelle, each expansion team has their own cap. So again, it's the way that you structured your team cap for your market center. So in your particular case, you've got like the team that moved to Mindy's office, they would have a team cap in Mindy's office. Your expansion team now that's over in your market center, they should have their own team cap. Okay. So the thing is, they're paying 2 team caps, one in Orlando Central and one in South Tampa, unless you have it structured differently. Some market centers where you have expansion agents, they're just on, each agent is on a $9,000 cap or $4,500 cap or whatever it might be. So again, it just depended upon how each market center functions, but those 2 caps are not combined, if that makes sense. Each market center has either their own cap structure or their own team cap. Does that help you, Michelle?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. And again, this is why we want to, and how you're reimbursing and how you're paying back. We want to make sure, like Michelle, if I'm not mistaken, on expansion, you're sending money back to Mindy through referral money, right?
We will, yes, when that starts happening, correct.
Yeah. All right, so we kind of understand the team concept, and the reason I did this for you is because I wanted to prepare you for the next conversation, which is something we're doing in our region. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it's a way to be able to, I thought through this, and it's a way to be able to get your ALC numbers correct, okay? So when you have your ALC percentage showing up on your vital signs, That's based off of how many cappers you have in your market center in correlation with your total agent count. So if your market center has an $18,000 cap, that's how that's calculated. But we have some market centers now, and this is happening kind of fairly rapidly because we're getting people recruited, and right, wrong, or indifferent. Some of our market centers have needed to do something like immediately to be able to save an agent because they're going over to XYZ because of deals being made or money being paid or $40,000 being flashed in front of them and all kinds of different things. So there's something called the legacy cap. And basically what it is it's a way that if you've got agents that have been with you for a certain period of time, you could consider giving them a different type of a cap for the 10-year. And there's 2 or 3 different ways that this is actually being promoted. I'm talking to market centers kind of individually about this rather than globally, because I think it's kind of specific to each situation. But let's just say that you've got agents that have been with you for 10 years. You might say, you know, if you started off with us at 18,000, if you've been with us for a certain period of time, we're gonna take you to this next year. You're gonna go to 16,000, then to 14,000, then to 12,000. Okay. So if you've been with us for a certain period of time, you'll have this cap. Now, this is something that can be actually provided to an agent when they join Keller Williams, and you can say, you know, part of our legacy program is that once you're with us for 2 years, you can go down to a $16,000 cap. When you're with us for 4 years, you can go down to a $14,000 cap. When you're with us for 6 years, you can go down to a $12,000 cap. This is example only. This doesn't mean that this is the way it is. You can have 18, 17, 16, 15. Your numbers are your numbers, okay? But what happens is it's kind of like what we got to start someplace. So we've had agents that have been with us for 10 years now. And so some market centers are saying, we're going to take you down to, I don't think anybody's at 12, but we're going to take you down to $14,000 or $15,000 cap because you've been with us for 10 years or 5 years or whatever the number might be. We're going to take you down to this cap. So what the market centers are doing is, or the MCAs, is they're going in to the default cap for each individual agent, and they're changing the default cap from 18,000 to 15,000. So when your agent caps, it's automatically caps them, and their cap is now $15,000. Again, sometimes depending on their cap date, there's adjustments made, and that's something else. But you understand what we're talking about. Well, if you've got 10 or 15 agents that you just moved from 18,000 to 16 or 15 or whatever your default cap might be, you just now adjusted your ALC percentage because they're not getting up to your market center standard default cap. Does that make sense to everybody? You have a market center standard default cap that you can't change. The only way you can change that is we do a lot of guerrilla warfare, and we have to really figure out why we're going to go from 18 to a 16. I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying that would be something that would be a KWRI and region have to get approval for that. So as long as your standard cap, what you're offering to the public is standard, you can choose to do anything you want to do with individual agents in your market center. And that's what this legacy cap program is, okay? But when you change your default cap and each agent now is caps at $15,000 or $16,000 or $17,000, they're never going to get to your standard cap of 18. So your ALC percent number is always going to show low. Everybody got me? Everybody good? Okay. So the way to accommodate that, and the way to actually, I think, be more fair to profit share is this. Now, this is more work on your side also, is you keep the cap at 18. It's kind of like your team cap. You're gonna once the agent gets to that cap, that legacy cap of 15 or 16,000, just like your team cap of 40, you're now going to reimburse them back through cap reimbursement. You're going to give them a check for that difference. So if their default cap is 18, but their market center cap is 16. Once they reach that $16,000, you're going to get that company dollar in and you're going to reimburse it back to that agent until they've reached $18,000. Same way you would do a team cap. Everybody got that? This way, your default cap is still 18. You're giving back the money to the agents. Profit sharing is being taken care of, but you're actually now going to be showing all of your agents at the proper default cap. You're just giving them a reimbursement back to the actual standard cap. Kieran, that makes sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So profit share is calculated correctly. And actually, guys, I honestly think this is a better way of doing it because you can see from a business perspective, when you see cap reimbursement, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I mean, we're having to do this to keep some people, right? But you're going to be able to see what is it that we're needing to do to be able to retain our people. Is it our value? Is it, do we need to change do we need to change our cap? What is it that we actually need to do to be able to retain our people and have the right values and models and systems and be able to have people that want to stay with us for the right reason? I'm not saying cap reimbursement is wrong. I kind of like this legacy program. And by the way, this is a program, I'm working on some things. This is a program you could actually offer that when somebody comes and joins you, you can say, hey, thanks for joining us today. Let me share with you our legacy program.
Well, the other thing, Georgia, is you can, we're an open book company, so you can just pull the P&L out when you're having.
Yeah. Well, and you can,
in addition to profit share, look how much money we've given back to our agents through our cap reimbursement program.
For staying with us, Kieran, for staying with us. Do you know what I mean?
Or for growing a big team or, whatever.
Well, and the other thing, and Kieran, you could actually have, and Sam, I'm saying this, but you could actually have two categories. You could have team reimbursement and you could have cap reimbursement. You know what I mean? So if you want to separate those out and show it differently, but it's probably better just to do it as one, so people don't look at that and go, oh, I want to do a team differently or something, So it's probably best just to have it on one, but you can show the difference. You can show the difference going back, and there's probably a way to post it, Kieran or Sam, that's going to show how much money went back to each person, right?
Yeah, you could just pull up the account and Account Edge and your memo lines will show who the payments went to.
And guys, I honestly think this is better because when an agent is getting a check back for $2,000 or $1,500 and then $500, they're going like, oh, cool, I actually got money back. Because when you just change their cap to 15, they don't feel the difference. They don't feel the difference. But when you give them back a check for $3,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, that's going to be cool that they're actually getting money back for that. All right. Does everybody understand that?
I do. I do have a question though. Are we adjusting the 1099s at the end of the year individually, or are we 1099 them separately for that extra money that they're getting back?
Say that. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
So when we do 1099s, they're net of company dollar and royalty.
Correct.
So are we going to be doing a separate 1099 for the money that is being given back? Or are we just going adjusting individually every 1099 for that money?
You can do one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, you will have to pull the 1099 from Account Edge so you can see, who got what. Okay. So then you can either give them two 1099s, one from Account Edge and one from Winmore, or you can adjust their 1099 in Winmore by adding whatever amount they received as a reimbursement.
Okay, so that works. My next question is for the people that we launched this legacy program in August 1st. So there are quite a few that already applied, and I had changed it like you originally said.
One more back and adjust them.
Okay, so Sam, I'll be calling you for that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Maritza, I understand your point, and look, we don't care if you do this or not do this, but your ALC percentage will be incorrect. Here would be my thing, Maritza. We're not keeping it from anybody.
It's Layra.
No, Maritza asked a question. Maritza asked a question in the chat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maritza asked a question about, but the agents will want to have it changed. Okay. Larry, I mean, Maritza, you're absolutely right, but you're not keeping anything from them. You're telling them what you're doing. You're saying, guys, we want to have our ALC, not your ALC percent, it's your CAPRA percent. I was wrong on that. It's not your ALC percent, it's your CAPRA percent. There's also something I want you to do for ALC, but it's your CAPRA percent that you want to have corrected, okay? You're not keeping it from the agent. You're going to tell them what you're doing, and you give them a letter. You're going to say, guys, here's what we're doing, because your actual cap, because then they're going to see like, oh, this is cool. Your actual cap is $18,000. We're going to give you back whatever the number is, $5,000, $3,000 as a reimbursement back to you. You're going to tell them what you're doing, and you're going to say, this is why we're doing it, because it protects profit share. If the people that you have in this are getting profit share, they're going to get it, and they're going to understand that we didn't realize if we reduced your cap, we affected everybody's profit share. So we're taking this back to, in the system, 18, but internally you're 15. And once you get to your $15,000, we're going to start giving you a check back. So you're going to actually get a reimbursement back from us, but this will protect our profit share, so people get paid profit share properly. So Maritza, you're not telling them a secret. Yes, they're going to see the 18, but they're going to have a document from you saying that their cap is actually 15,000 and that you're going to reimburse them. Does that make sense, Maritza?
Yes.
Okay. Now, guys, if you don't want to do this, don't do it. I'm just telling you how, if you want your numbers to look right, this is how your numbers look right. We're not telling you you have to do it this way. What I am saying is, though, if you have a legacy program, and if you are reducing caps like on for a particular reason, not just, we're just giving everybody different caps, we need to know what your system is, or your model is, or your plan is, or whatever. So we have it in your documents, so we understand why your numbers are lower. So if you have a legacy, and I'm writing out something on a legacy program, if you have a legacy program, send it over to us. So Lara, I know what you guys are doing, and I know why we did it in your market centers with Lori. So I understand it. I would like to see what you guys, what the plan is. Do you know what I mean? Like what everybody signed or whatever. So send that over to me. And as you're putting it in place, send it over to us so we have it on file, and then we can make sure that we're working with you to make sure that it's all done appropriately. However you choose to record it is your choice. So Maritza, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But your CAPRA percent will be off, and your profit share, your agents will be affected by profit share. That's all we're telling you. Okay. Is everybody good? Do we all understand? Let's open this up and ask questions.
How would you suggest working that for the ALC percent when part of your ALC has team members on it?
Well, all right. So let's talk about the ALC. Is that Joshua? Who was that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Joshua, first of all, you got to remember that there can only be one member of a team on the ALC. Because
one member of any team total, or okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it should be the rainmaker.
Right.
Read the policy and guidelines manual. The rainmaker is the only one on a team that should be on the ALC. They can, because generally speaking, all of their production is combined. So they would be the only person that could be on the ALC. So you would not have another member on the ALC unless they were showing their production separately. Okay, but generally it's all rolled up. So then the rainmaker would be the person. So if you want your ALC percent to be correct, this is done through the white pages. So Joshua, let's just say you had a husband and wife team, okay? And the husband and wife team, if the husband's the rainmaker, but the wife is on the ALC, so there's no production booked under her name, but she's the ALC member. But the husband does the production. You need to put the husband as the ALC member on the white pages. Not,
do you know how long it takes for production to actually show for that? Because we did that and I switched it to the husband, and they had like 5 closings the past couple months, and it's still showing 0 as his percentage.
Okay. Let me check up, let me check on that, because I'm getting some of that information from some others, like the numbers are not accurate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, I'll be honest with you guys, when I bring this up to international, they say, we understand, you know, just work with it and know that your percentages will be increased. But I think we take this a little bit more seriously than, well, it is serious. And I think we want to have our numbers right. And their perspective is it'll kind of catch up. So just bear with us while we're working through some of these things. Do you know what I mean? But I've heard that before, like on what is it, on smart plans, like all the smart plans for all the agents are not showing up accurately. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Yes, we have that too.
So I'm making little notes. I'm making little notes here. Who was that, Marta?
Yes, it's
Well, the
me.
reason why is because I talked to Dallas about that yesterday. He's having, is it Joshua?
Jacob.
Jacob. He's having Jacob send me a list of all the people that, because I think he said he had like 40 people or something that weren't showing up
Yeah,
for smart
Yeah.
plans. So
got that issue too.
yeah, we're checking that off. Well, okay, so Marianne, with your ALC percentages not showing up correctly, did you understand what I just said? You got to change those names. So change the names and then let's try that. So,
I did that a few months ago.
and it's still not doing, it's still
No.
not, did you take the other person off?
Yep.
Okay, well, but my question is does it go, is it off and on? In other words, if you've got a person that's capped, does it start over all the time? In other words, if they're starting to pay towards their cap, is it showing that they're not a capper? In other words, if they were a capper last year, it should be showing they're a capper this year. Does that make sense? And does it
Yeah.
take it down if
They're
they're
capped.
yeah, and so that's my other question.
Yeah,
So,
they've been capped since like March.
right. But I think like once they're a capper, it should continue to show. Do you see what I mean?
So you're saying like next year when they roll in January and they cap again, then it'll catch up?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know the answer to your question. These are all things that are coming up because we pay attention to things here. Most people don't care, but we pay attention to things. So we're trying to figure that out. But these are all great questions. Okay, so but that's the way that you correct that. Okay, and if you have a team, there should only be one member of that team that's the rainmaker that should be on the ALC. The reason for that is a buyer's agent that's on an ALC should not be on the ALC making decisions for the market center. This is an important conversation. If the ALC is being run the right way, the rainmaker is on there because you're talking about the agent's business. Okay, and you're going to learn. Well, I mean, you've already learned about that from Gene, but you can't have a buyer's agent on the ALC masterminding with other top people on how to run a team and how to be able to run a business when they're not the person running the business, and they should not be making decisions for the market center. So I think as we move through this and everybody gets a better direction on what the ALC is all about, and we have our agents at the ALC meeting, that they'll get a better feel for that. But Joshua, if you have a particular situation, let us know and we'll help you through that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.